Hello and welcome. And today I am Raziel as always. Anyway, not just today, every day. I want to talk about Jakatai Khan, the White Scars Primarch, the Warhawk. You know, the probably very autistic one, the rebel. He is probably one of my favourite Primarchs. I'm not going to do what you say. I'm doing it my way because I think that's right. He was the wild card of the Primarchs. He was the one that would answer back to the Emperor. As he said himself, this is what you made me to do. And I think he's really interesting. White Scars, they're a fun faction and they have some interesting stories and lore. But, Games Workshop needs to really do more than just the poster boys of the Ultramarines. But how would you bring him back? This actually was surprisingly simple. And to that, we have to look at the Aeldari, the Craftworld Eldar, in fact. No, actually, all the Aeldari, in fact. Harlequins, Drukhari, Craftworld. Because there is one person that actually has good relations with all four factions. Craftworld, the Drukhari, and the Harlequins, and of course the Imperium, and that is Yffrain. Yffrain and her devoted following of Yniad, worshipping pointy ears, and as well. And in fact, she has this fantastic relation with all of them, but she acts as a consult for Vibhuti Gulliman anyway, means that she can be the one that brings back Jakatai Khan. Not because he's dead or anything, but where he is. Right, no, let's get this straight. The reason with Yniad and Yffrain, and of course the Incarni, is the fact that they are the first real time the Eldar have been united. They have coalesced into a single faction which covers all the branches. And this is not just weird between the Drukhari and the Aeldari. The Aeldari themselves and the Drukhari themselves are very fractured as well. They don't get along within themselves, let alone with a third, with the two opposing forces. And so this is how I would say it would go about, because we're going to talk about White Scars anyway. So she hears rumblings, obviously, from Drukhari about this big human, this big Monkai that is just wrecking up the gladiators, or even something that he's just doing hit and run strikes upon Camorra and the the Dark Eldar, the Drukhari homeworld. That's the best word at the moment. Just constantly wrecking stuff, being an absolute nuisance, and he's just being that he's. And she's like, wait, big tall guy, hard to kill. Maybe he's a Primarch. Maybe he's like Vibhuti Gulliman, and she might get some sort of pict or holograph or something that shows what this guy looks like, and shows it to Vibhuti Gulliman. And Gulliman goes, "That's my brother, the Khan, Jakatai, the Warhawk." Like he says, "I do know this guy, and I think we need to go and rescue him." So her and him, both of them, go into the webway to find the Khan. And this is where the allegiance with the Harlequins comes into mind, because they know exactly how to get through the webway with all its twists and turns and its mind changes, where it decides to just go, yeah, that was a left turn, I'm going to make it a U-turn now. So they can get through to Camorra or wherever Jakatai Khan is and say, we found him. And that's the way I would do it. So the other problem with this, of course, is that the Khan is going to see Gulliman with an Aeldari, and not only Aeldari, someone he would have recognised to be a Drukhari too. Yffrain was a Drukhari. She was a Drukhari gladiator, and this would not have gone unnoticed by the Khan. And given that he has a particular hate for these type of pointy ears, given that they wrecked his homeworld, I think it was just after the Horus Heresy or during the Siege of Terra, it was quite close. It really was. And so during this time, that's why he went to the webway. He literally went there because of what the Drukhari did to his homeworld. And he would have seen this and he would go absolutely mental. He'd be like, that's it, I'm going to just rip this girl's head off, I'm going to shove it up her ass, and I'm going to do exactly what I need to do, and then I'm going to beat all of her soldiers behind you brother to death with her legs. And when they run out, I'm going to use her arms and then her torso until basically everything's just a red smear of Aeldari. And it would take Roberto Guilliman to kind of have to talk him out of this, because you can't go around murdering allies now, especially when you're trying to fight the big bad, and the big bad being Chaos. And though I do think the EW are really lacking at making Chaos a big bad, as the Outer Circle called them, well, Demon Primarchs, toothless tigers. They are really that way at the moment. Without the ability to win anything major, they kind of just float along. But a united force of Eldar and the Imperium under the single goal of defeating Chaos would be quite strong, and bring Jacadai Khan back from Camera, whether he's a gladiator fighting or he's doing his hit and run raids, is going to be a major boost for everyone, because the Imperial Guard is what people forget are human, and what makes them human is that they kind of talk, and if they see a Primarch, they're going to tell people. If they see a Demon Primarch, they're going to tell people, have their letter redacted and then shot. So they will know that there's two Primarchs about, and having a third one, and having the two Primarchs about, has lifted Imperial morale to almost unseen levels to basically the Great Crusade. And it scares the leadership as well. It terrifies the leadership that Primarchs are back. They are scared because, well, who are the Primarchs going to answer to? The High Lords of Terror? Nope. They will answer to the Emperor and the Emperor alone. It's one of the reasons the High Lords of Terror aren't a big fan of the Custodes, because again, the Custodes don't really answer to anyone except the Emperor and their Captain General, who is also a High Lord of Terror as well. So you have three Primarchs back, you have Euphrain bringing them back, but you also have the opposing sides. Roberto Guilliman and Reliant don't get on. They disagree a lot, but having this third party who isn't going to agree with either of them and only ever speak what he thinks is true, and this is what he believes, this is what he says, and he will say it. He doesn't care. He doesn't care about what either Primarch is going to say or what the Lord of Terror are going to say, or whichever way it swings. He's going to be like, no, this is what I'm going to do, and sod you if you don't care. If you don't like it, I'm doing it. And that will make it even more interesting, because it's going to give the Primarchs pause for thought to ever decide if their idea actually works, or maybe the Khan's got the right idea. And if he fails, he'll come back like, right, I tried that, it failed, next thing. And, well, you could either have Reliant going, ha ha ha, you failed, I knew you would, or the Roberto Guilliman going, there, brother, you could always try next time, think about the practical and the theoretical, and everything else that he says so blatantly, boringly. God, anyone speaking to Roberto Guilliman, he probably just does ASMR or lullabies. But practical, there was a man on the moon. Theoretical, there were men on the moon. So we had to fight them all. So, that would be how I'd bring Jacadai Khan back. As for the White Scars themselves, they need more love. Definitely need more love. They are a fascinating faction. I like fast armies, always have done, and having an army full of bikes really sort of goes the way I like it. And having them back would be very interesting. Back with Jacadai Khan, and then suddenly they would coalesce into this force again. I could see them just getting rid of all their successor chapters and just becoming a legion. Because, again, this is Jacadai Khan. He wouldn't go, oh, you split up my army into successors. Right? Okay, I decided I didn't like the successors anymore. I'm going to bring back the legion. Who's going to stop him? Roberto Guilliman isn't. The Emperor couldn't talk Jacadai Khan down when he had, when he wanted to do something. He's like, I don't like the idea, I'm doing that. This is just a legion now. I have a White Scars Legion. But what about no, White Scars Legion. And again, this would add an extra interest, because the High Lords of Terror would be terrified of this idea that there is now a legion and not chapters in the Imperium. That would terrify them, and it would definitely get to a point of political unrest where they're like, what are we going to do? They can't go after the White Scars because they are loyal. They may not praise the Emperor, they might not do all that, but their faith and their loyalty to the Imperium is unquestioned. And also we know that Jackalai Khan is happy for people to, he will forgive people if they earn it, like they can earn their respect back, which is good for any chapter or legion, just to sort of shoo them away, and say, that's it, you're a traitor now. But, you go, right, you messed up, you got to earn this right. I'm going to send you on missions, and you're not going to survive these missions, but you do it and you survive, we can talk about you, getting back to the way we were. And again, this scares the Imperium, because one thing the Imperium doesn't like doing is forgiving. And having a Primarch which does forgive loyalists who fall and, become traitors is something else. That would tear them. Yeah, the Lion is doing it too with the Fallen, but the Fallen have always been on that sort of line where they weren't quite loyalists, they weren't traitors either. It was always a weird spot for the Fallen. They were always under the Chaos Space Marine banner, I should say. But as for, if you read their lore, they were always this, we're not fighting for the Imperium because this is what the Imperium became, but we're not fighting for Chaos either because they're also the bad guys. We noticed we made mistakes fighting with Horus and, fighting with the Lion, but we're not going on the Imperium side either. They were this thin line, and basically it's just taking my line to go, right, I get it, you are in two minds, let me show you the Imperium's way, and, redeem them. Where with Jackalai Khan, it's literally about traitors being traitors, and he said, like, you come back, you can fight with us again. You can fight alongside your Primarch again, because, again, you can fight alongside me again, and then you can now, earn back your respect. You can earn back what you lost. And here's the thing. Traitors who see their Primarch in an unsullied form, no longer a demon, become loyal. And I think this was an interesting aspect of Clone Grim, when, the Emperor's children saw him, perfectly cloned. They fell to their knees and saw it and went, wow, what have we done? We've messed up. So any, White Scars who turn traitor would see then Primarch, and they would be like, forgive us, Father, we've messed up. And they will become loyal. They will go on suicide missions to prove their loyalty. And here's the fun thing about Primarchs, which I've only just picked up. It's kind of weird. No successor chapter fell until their Primarch died or disappeared. I gotta say that again. Successor chapters. The Crusaders of Dawn fell after the death of Rogal Dawn. The great companies that fell to chaos and become traitors went after Leman Russ disappeared. Same with Corvus Corax, Vulcan and the Salamanders. So the actual appearance and, seeing their Primarch has this effect that makes them revoke chaos, which is, again, absolutely interesting. And whether or not GW will use this is an interesting fact as well. I don't think they will, but it is interesting. We're not talking demon forms here, we're talking their actual proper forms. But except for Lorgar, they all fell because he's an idiot and should have slapped Erebus and Corferon. The Emperor said no worshipping. There you go. But we are worshipping. Look, I'm just doing what the Emperor said. Anyway, that's how I bring Jackalai Khan back. And I think it would really improve the Imperium, and it would improve the White Scars no end, and we'd actually see some more White Scars stuff, which is something we desperately need. And that's it. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video on bringing back Jackalai Khan, and I'll see you all in the next one. Links to Wayland Games as always down below, as well as up to 20% off your Warhammer, free delivery after £20. Forbidden Planet for comics, DVDs, etc, toys, manga, all that cool stuff. And finally, there is my merchandise, t-shirts, cups, and my comics as well. I hope I will see you soon, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye bye.